But thank you so much for joining us for the WOCAN Speaker Series. This is our third speaker that we've had, and we're so excited. It's been so well received. I should start by introducing myself. I always forget to do that. My name is Carrie Wise. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for TrueCar, and I'm also a co-founder of WOCAN, Women of Color Automotive Network. We are so excited for the momentum that we have received through this organization. We have nearly 300 members as of now, mostly women of color, but even 10% are allies. And so there's been so much excitement about this movement. I constantly meet women that are like, I am so glad you guys started this. I was looking for this. And so that makes us feel good, like we did the right thing. And today we're featuring Olabisi Boyle, AKA BC, the Vice President of Product and Mobility for Hyundai Motors America, who is going to share her amazing story of her journey as a leader on the product side, technology, in a career that we don't always see ourselves in. And I said that to her. I said, when I've never met a head of product, a head of mobility, a head of tech for an OEM that looked like me. She's one of the first. And so it's amazing for us to be able to see these faces of people that remind us of our own journeys and our own possibilities. We have so many people all over the country, and normally we actually do a little exercise, right? I have you guys place where you are on the map, but we have so many things we need to share with you before we jump into BC's presentation. But we have people from California, New Jersey, Michigan, Georgia, Florida, all over the country, but all over the world. I think I mentioned we had 4 people register from Nigeria. We had a person register from Australia. We have several that registered from Canada. So WOCAN is not just a United States thing. We are an international thing. We're trying to connect women around the world. So thank you so much for being here. And I also just want to call out our allies. We have white women, white men on here right now. And I just want to say, when women of color succeed, you succeed. So we all succeed. And I want to thank you for your support in being here. And so we're going to jump in. We have a couple announcements, but I want to first acknowledge our sponsors. When we launched in August, we weren't thinking big enough. We were thinking, we're going to get some women of color together and we're going to network and have discussions. And then we had these major companies reaching out to us. And I first got to start by acknowledging Subaru. They contacted us right away before we had really anything in order from a nonprofit organization. They were patient with us as we kind of launched and got insurance and did everything that we needed to do. And so kudos to them. I will always, hold them in a special place because it's the day ones. It's the people that were there for you on day one, and they were absolutely there for us in terms of launching this organization. And then I have to acknowledge my own company, TrueCar, who is also a gold sponsor. Each of these organizations have given us a significant amount of money to support this organization. And TrueCar, I worked there, but they didn't have to sponsor us. And they did. They not only sponsored us as a gold sponsor, but they also paid for our legal fees to become a nonprofit. So thank you to my company for supporting such an important cause. Thank you to all of our sponsors. So just want to jump in. I'm going to pass it on to Erica, who's going to talk about our founders.
I love this part. Not that I like talking about myself and my girls, but I do. I can't even help it. I just love talking about my brown skinned girls. The first and my friend is Patrice Banks. She is CEO of Girls Auto Clinic. And if I have a girl crush, it's on Patrice. She is an amazing superstar, a visionary. She is the owner and founder of Girls Auto Clinic in Philadelphia. If you don't know, please Google it, because it is a garage with all female technicians where you can get your hair done and nails done while you're getting your car maintenance. Yes, you heard me right. Lady technicians working on your car while you get your hair done and nails done. There is a boutique right there in the shop, and it is absolutely beautiful. And she is the visionary behind it, does workshops, just a wonderful, wonderful person. Next is Amanda Gordon, a sweetheart, a fashionista. This is the beautiful, hottest working owner of a car dealership you have ever seen in your life. Amanda is the first woman to own, first Black woman, let me get this right, first Black woman to own a car dealership in Denver, Colorado. Gojo is the company name, and she does a phenomenal job. She is breaking records. She is a sister in her own right, has amazing videos of her presentation, and every day she's delivering cars. We're calling each other, girl, how many cars you got out? That is my sister, Amanda Gordon. Myself, Erica Tiffany Wells. I am a sales manager. I've been in the business for 15 years. And while I don't have the accolades these ladies have, I'm telling you, I'm making strides and making it happen. And I am so excited to be a part of this amazing group of ladies.
And accolades. Wait. Hold on. You don't have the accolades. You were recognized as one of the top salespeople for a certain manufacturer across the entire country. So you do have accolades.
Thank you, Carrie. Let me fix that up. But yes. And last but not least, speaking of, is Carrie Wise, the beautiful, wonderful, talented, we call her the diva of the auto industry. Everybody knows, and if you don't know, now you know. Carrie Wise, the vice president of marketing for TrueCar. She does an amazing, amazing, amazing job. She is the president of WOCAN. She is the leader, the brains behind it. She is the one that keeps everything organized. She keeps us on point. She makes sure that I have my notes, know what I need to say. And we absolutely love her. She spoke all across the country, and she is just known as kind of the heart and soul of our group. And I am just so excited to announce to you these four ladies and the founders of Women of Color Automotive Network that is only about 7 months old right now. So when you guys think about this group, we just started this summer. And I'm gonna tell you something else. The four of us only met one time in this whole year. And some of us didn't even know each other before we decided to create this group. So it's the power of social media. It's the power of networking. It's power of being in a room just like this now, because a lot of us did not even know each other before we decided to make this organization. But that's the power of people coming together, and that the missing piece to your puzzle might be right in this room. So make sure you connect with everyone before you leave. Now, moving into our membership, this is what we're talking about. What is WOCAN? Being a member has so many advantages, and we hope you go on our website and join. Most of you are already members, but if you're not a member, please, please, please participate. We have our monthly speaker series, which you are participating in. This is the second one we've had this year. Educational workshops, where we're going to be teaching you and empowering you and telling you all kinds of wonderful information about how to get a job, how to retain a job in the industry, biases that happen. We just really want to make sure we educate the women that are in the industry. Our quarterly member meetups are so much fun. Carrie puts this thing together where it's like speed dating, but for women in the industry, where we're in these little breakout rooms in Zoom calls. We meet each other, we talk for 15 minutes, and then we break out and meet more people. It is so much fun. It is the best virtual experience I've ever had with meeting women in the automotive industry. So you definitely want to be at our next member meetup. We have our private Facebook group where we do have great intimate conversations about things that we're dealing with. It's private so that outside people can't, see what we're talking about, but it allows us to really be transparent and have deep, intimate conversations with each other while we high five each other and pat each other on the back. And then my favorite is our scholarships. We gave away scholarships last year, $1,000 and 3 scholarships to the College of Automotive last year, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. We had so many entrants, we couldn't even decide who to give it away to, and our sponsors make that so graciously happen for us. So we're so much excited because this year we have $20,000, a minimum of that, in scholarships that we are giving away, and we're super excited of all that is here to come. If you need to find out where to find us, Carrie's going to tell you how to get in touch.
Yeah, so social media, obviously Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Erica's going to kill me. She's the queen of Clubhouse, and I didn't put that logo on there. But if you have an iPhone,
I need an invite.
I have an invite. I have 7 of them. And I'm sure Erica has about 20 because she is the queen of Clubhouse. So make sure you check us out. We did a conversation on Clubhouse last week. I mean, there were hundreds of people. It's an amazing platform. All right, our website, WOCAutonetwork.com, WOCAutonetwork.com. You'll find out about our events and anything else you want to know about WOCAN. Look out for our emails and make sure that we're not being put in spam. We send a lot of emails that tell you what's going on. And lastly, invite a friend. Please tell as many people as you can about what we're doing. We're trying to grow this network. And I want to give a shout out to Boonmi from Nigeria, who's one of my favorite people in WOCAN. And I see her commenting and she's joined. So thank you, Boonmi, for being here. All right, so a couple more announcements before we jump into BC. I promise I'll hurry up. Upcoming events. We're so excited for our event next week. It's with our friends from Google. In fact, I saw Lizette Gold, the head of automotive retail. I believe she's on here. Thank you, Lizette, for being here. Her and her team are going to be leading what they call the I Am Remarkable workshop. It's a Google initiative about empowering women and underrepresented groups to celebrate their achievements in the workplace and in their personal lives. We're going to learn about the importance of self-promotion and the skills that we need to execute that in our careers. It's going to boost your confidence. It's about the power of persuasion. And so it's going to be a lunch and learn. We normally have evening events. This one is going to be a lunch and learn on February 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. This is exclusively for WOCAN members only. So you got to be a member. Whereas our speaker events are open to everybody, you got to be a member. So make sure you become a member or pass it on to your friends. So really excited about that. Okay, a couple other things. Our March events, we're going to have our quarterly meetup. Really excited. This was a snapshot from our first meetup. If you were there, you can attest, ask somebody. It was so good. In fact, if you were there, write some comments just to brag about how fun it was, how many connections you built. And we have, as Erica mentioned, these small groups where we talk about challenging discussions. We talk about our own careers. We give each other advice. And as you can see, we got some testimonies. It was really good. March 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And lastly, you guys are first to know our next speaker event is going to feature Diana Lee. She is a former car salesman turned CEO and founder of an ad agency called the Constellation Agency. They work with major brands across the automotive industry. She is an amazing woman. I've seen her speak at Automotive News, and you're not going to want to miss out on this. March 17th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We are so excited to have her up next. All that to be said, and I want to just jump into today's event. So excited about our next speaker, Olabisi Boyle, aka BC. She's the Vice President of Product and Mobility, as I mentioned, from Hyundai Motors America. In preparation for this event, I had a quick call with BC and I tried to play it cool because she's an automotive news leading woman and I am too. And so I'm supposed to be on somewhat of a same level as her, but I gotta say, I had a girl crush. And I tried to play it cool, but as soon as I hung up that phone, I called all of our founders and I was just like, I love, love, love this woman because she's powerful, but she's authentic. And that just inspires me to be who I want to be myself. And it was freedom in hearing her be herself with me, at least. And so want to give you a little background on her. She, as I mentioned, leads the product and mobility group at Hyundai. They focus on short-term and long-term planning. She oversees marketing research, analytics, pricing. She also leads their US mobility strategy, including IT business solutions, connected car technology, and future innovations. She joined Hyundai from Visa, where she was a vice president of connected commerce. And prior to that, she was a vice president of IoT and connected car. She has 20 years of automotive industry experience, including various engineering, product strategy, manufacturing, and leadership roles at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and Ford Motor Company. She was recently selected, as I mentioned, as an Automotive News Top 100 Leading Women. And I got to show you, she was on the cover, as you guys can see, of the magazine. So she just wasn't one of them. She was the cover girl of Automotive News Leading Women. I just want to share some of her education. It's quite impressive. A BS in industrial engineering from Columbia University, a BS in physics from Fordham University, and a master's in mechanical engineering from Columbia University. Woo! Oh my God, BC, how did you do this many years of school? So impressive. Without further ado, want to introduce BC Boyle. Thank you for being here.
Oh man, thank you for that introduction. And, before we even get started, I wanted to say, Carrie sent me this video with Amanda and Erica and Patrice. And and people ask me to speak every now and then. And I saw that video and I'm like, I love those ladies. These are fabulous ladies. And I'm so thrilled that I got the chance to meet you guys. Now, you guys bear with me. I am going to try to bring up these slides, but they start like popping up on all these multiple screens. So give me a second.
Take your time.
Hopefully it'll work. Let's see. We'll share this one. I think it's the right one.
I'll let you know.
And let's see if we can get it in slides.
Yes, we see it.
Let's see. And I will move this down here. All right. Now, I can see all you guys at the bottom.
All right. We don't see your presentation right now.
Oh, okay. So
the blue screen.
Let's do this.
Yep.
Give me a second.
Seeing it. Yep. Now we see it. Yep. Oh, not anymore.
Give me 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I need to play your theme music again. There we are.
And let me see if I can duplicate slideshow.
Okay.
Tell me if you guys can see it.
Blue screen again. It's the same blue screen. Yeah, we saw it before. Let's try it one more time.
This.
Just a second.
Maybe if I leave it like that. Tell me what you guys see now.
Yep. We see your presentation. Yep. It's
the
up.
Full screen?
Yep. Full screen.
All righty.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So tell me, I put this picture up there first because it sort of represents some of the things I do at work. This is me at the Tucson reveal, and we're talking about our brand new Tucson that we're pretty proud of. But what I wanted to share with you guys is the behind this picture. So I love my job. I'm very excited about work, but what is it that is behind getting to this point? So tell me if you guys can see that. It should say family. Mm-hmm. Number one thing for me, that's a picture of my son, little, and then on the right, big. And then my mom, my best friend and most beautiful mentor, and unfortunately she passed away 3 years ago, but my best friend. And then my husband for 30 years, and that is my family. The other part of my family that I wanted to show you guys, and you guys tell me if I'm blocking anything with screens or pictures, because I can see like a couple of things here going on mine. Carrie, we still good? Full screen?
You're good. Yep.
Right. So you see my son and me, we're really close. He's 23. My husband, we're at the Concours d'Elegance, a big car show that happens each year. When we moved to Palo Alto in New York City, because that's truly where I'm from. And the most important things are the dogs. Ebony, the chocolate lab, and Ebony, the Shih Tzu poodle, and Argos, the chocolate lab. Ebony is actually the older one, even though she's small, but she's the boss and she rules Argos, and we love them. Argos isn't the best behaved dog, but it's not his fault, it's the owner's, it's the parents' fault. And so that is a big part of my motivation. Another thing is, as we've moved, and I'll tell you what my career line has been, we have lived and always tried to pick a college town to live. So one of the first places where we lived is Ann Arbor. And we actually lived there for 17 years when I was at Ford and Chrysler. And this is the college town downtown in Liberty Street and State and the Michigan. One thing when you live in Michigan, there's this thing called the Big House. Anyone from Michigan knows it. It is the football stadium. It holds over 100,000 people. It is huge and everyone moves in. Michigan hasn't been doing too well in football lately, but they used to be real good. And the next college town we moved to when we moved out west was in Palo Alto. And this is University Ave, and it leads you to Stanford on Palm Drive, again, like the downtown of college towns. When we worked at IBM, this is in North Carolina, and we lived in Chapel Hill on Franklin Street. And so we've always picked that. It's only now is the first time that we're like living outside of a college town. But before we even go to the next time. So another thing I kind of wanted to talk about that sort of inspires me is my jobs have also provided me the opportunity to meet the greatest leaders and to meet the greatest of all times. And so when I was at Visa, got a chance to meet the great Simone Biles. Okay, so my two goats, female goats, are Serena and Simone. These are two women that they have to like invent words to describe what they do because no one else can do, a man or a woman, right? And she's only 22, the age of my daughter, my son, 22, 23, in that same age range. But she's so wise. And look what she's done in her career, how many gold medals she's won. She's gonna go to Tokyo again and win medals this summer, you know, post-COVID, post-vaccine. She's amazing. And we got to share stories with her. And the leadership that exists in our young people is just amazing. Then when I was at Hyundai, I got to meet this gentleman. There are only 14 African-American astronauts that have gone into space. And he is one of them. And talk about diversity of work that he's done. He used to play in the NFL and he's been to space. He's amazing. Another person that we should get to know, a great opportunity I got with my job here at Hyundai. Then when we were at Chrysler, Magic Johnson, when he came, so he probably wouldn't like my Go Blue Michigan because he's Michigan State. And there's a big rivalry for those from Michigan. Everyone knows that. But what's so amazing about him, when he came to Chrysler, I knew all he had done in basketball, but this man has gone on to become this entrepreneur, billionaire, business, build this own world. And we got to find that out at that occasion. So another leader. Now this next leader that will probably get me in trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway, is who I feel is the true GOAT. No shade to MJ. I love me some MJ. But I love this picture of LeBron James, and let me tell you why. And why I feel he's the GOAT, and I feel I need to say it. This picture was when they had beat the Golden State Warriors, and I shouldn't be saying that being here in California, but he beat the Golden State Warriors, basically carrying his team on his back. All these injuries, had to come back from 3-1 and won. He was exhausted at this point. This is when they finally won. This is a man who won in Miami, who won in Cleveland, who then came and won in LA. Excellence does not happen by accident. Quality does not happen by accident. He is a leader and has been a leader in different places. So no shade to MJ. Nobody get off the phone, but LeBron's the GOAT. All right. So I had to get that in. Just give you a little color of my background. The other thing that's very important to me is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and getting as many women as I can in science, technology, engineering, and math. And then I would add STEAM for art. Why I really love about the auto industry, it is such a combination of form and function. It brings in the science, technology, engineering, and math, but also, is it beautiful? Aesthetically, how does it look? And does it get 740 horsepower? So function, form, mentorship. So that's been key things in my background. As we go through, and you'll see a lot of these pictures, these are pictures that I've taken over time, and I'd like to use them as backgrounds as we go through talking about things. But let me tell you a little bit about my journey line. So I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria till I was 10. My mom is African-American, born in South Carolina. She and my father met at City University. My father is from Lagos, Nigeria. They met, they married, and she actually had me here in the States so she could be, close to her parents while she was pregnant. But then we went back to Nigeria, and we grew up there till I was about 10. And then, and when my parents got divorced, we moved back to the States. And when we moved back to the States, we moved to Harlem. And I grew up in Harlem, 155th Street and Edgecombe Avenue. And I'm a New Yorker. That's how I consider myself. Then at 16, I went to Fordham University. and I majored in physics. They have a program there called the 3-2 engineering program. So it was 3 years you would spend at Fordham and 2 years at Columbia University. So I got at the end of the four years, I got a physics degree from Fordham. And then at the end of the 5th year, I got a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Columbia. So I went to Columbia after that. I worked for 2 years for a company, came back, and then got my master's in mechanical engineering also at Columbia. The company I worked at in the interim was GTE, which is now Verizon. At the time, it was called GTE General Telephone. I then, after graduating with my master's, worked at IBM and worked in tech and PowerPC. Initially in New York, upstate New York, but then eventually moved down to North Carolina in Research Triangle Park, and that's when we lived in Chapel Hill. Then, because, when I say we, because I think by this time we were married, my husband and I, and he also went to Columbia, that's where we met. And we were both working at IBM. We both worked at the same companies for a while. So we were both working at IBM. And then we had gone back to school for our mechanical engineering masters. So we wanted to do more mechanical engineering related stuff because at IBM we were doing computer science and EE and more related stuff to that. So then we both got jobs at Ford. And started working at Ford, started out in manufacturing, and then eventually went to engineering at Ford and product development. And then my husband stayed at Ford for 20, I worked there about 8 years. My husband stayed at Ford for 20 years. The other 12 years, Chrysler came and I made a transition to Chrysler. And I worked at Chrysler. I was the chief engineer for the minivan, the Dodge Grand Caravan, and the Chrysler Town and Country. And then my husband was interested in a job that he got in one of the electric vehicle startups here in California, in Northern California, called NEO. And it's an electric vehicle startup that's pretty much really rivaling Tesla right now. And so he wanted to move out here, and I was like, huh? So I thought I'd take a break because it'd been 20 years since I hadn't taken more than a week and a half, 2-week vacation. Just the 6 weeks I had off to have my son. I was like, I could take a break. So I was going to take 6 months off. But 2 months into the 6 months, Visa called. And I'm like, well, you're not a car company. But they wanted someone with car company credibility to help them make inroads in in-car payments and bring that car credibility. But also I would get an opportunity to learn about payments, a new industry, tech, 5G, IoT, AI, all of that. So then I made a transition to Visa. And now I was living in Visa in California. We were living in Palo Alto. My office was in San Francisco. I really loved it. I really was going nowhere else because the weather was good. This was nice. So then Hyundai called. I'm like, I took the call because, well, they're in California. I'll listen. But right now, I'm not going anywhere cold. And so they called. And I listened for a while, but I was still like, But then I talked to our CEO, who's now my boss, Jose Munoz. And I thought, wow, he seemed to know what he's talking about. And I was duly impressed and also thrilled with what I see the capabilities here are at Hyundai. And so now I work at Hyundai. And while that's up, I'll tell you a little bit about what the job is. What is product and mobility? So there are 4 key swim lanes in the sort of arena that space that I manage, right? So one is product competitiveness. So how do we make sure for our products that we're going to deliver in North America, what are we going to do with ride and handling, powertrain, all-wheel drive, how many SUVs, how many cars? What are we going to do so that we have the most competitive product so that we are recognized, like we recently were for the Car of the Year for the Elantra? Then there's a piece of it that says, how are we going to price these such that share, margin, and volume all increase and we have the best consumer-facing transaction price? And so I have a director that leads that space. That's a second swim lane. The third swim lane is electrification. How are we going to, and when are we going to be electrified, not just to meet CAFE guidelines, but to actually improve our EV sales mix relative to our total sales mix and increase our brand opinion with respect to how Hyundai approaches electrification. And then the fourth swim lane is mobility. So connectivity, autonomous mobility, new subscription mobility packages, new autonomous vehicles, new connectivity in the car and in-car payments, and how can we make that happen? And what is great at Hyundai is we have this North Star set by our chairman in Korea, and it's to make progress for humanity. And sometimes when you say this, people are like, oh, please, it sounds so ambitious. But we've actually committed to put money into this progress for humanity that is going to be fueled by becoming a smart mobility company, which means in my role, these aspects. We'll have smart mobility devices, autonomous vehicles. We already have a joint venture with Motional that has autonomous vehicles that are now being validated in Nevada. Electrified vehicles. And so we have a brand new Ioniq platform that's going to release a new compact SUV, a sedan, and a large 3-row SUV EV over the next 3 years on this new platform that we just built called the Ioniq. And urban air mobility, where we actually are going to have EV-powered urban air vehicles that can launch into a vertiport, land in a vertiport, drop people off, they go into an autonomous or EV vehicle that takes them on the rest of their ride. And then maybe at the last part of the ride, they have to go in e-bike or e-scooter. Because in the future, mobility will be people-centric and multimodal. So I would just want to get from A to B, but I might need to take this across town in the urban air mobility, land in the vertiport, go into my EV AV vehicle, and then eventually for the last part of my ride, get on a scooter and go the rest of the ride. And how do we make that come to reality? So we're working on that for the 2028, 2030 timeframe. So that's on the devices side. On the services side, you have infotainment, connectivity, in-car payment. We're gonna have in-car payment where you can keep your hands on the steering wheel and say, pay for parking or pay for tolls or pay for gas, eventually charge via voice. And we'll have it in our Ioniq that's coming out, our EV vehicle. And we'll also have it with biometrics to authenticate that it's really you and not someone else. I don't want Erica like buying stuff in my car if I don't know, how much Erica gonna be buying. And so we have the services piece of it. And then when you think about, and then so and on the EV side, not only are we doing battery electric EVs to get to the zero emissions, carbon neutral world, we're also doing fuel cell EV. Because you'll have a lot of conversations, especially when I'm like on tech conversations where they're like, oh, BEV versus fuel cell EV. In our Progress for Humanity, what we're trying to do is get to zero emissions. So all relevant technology that gets us to that point, there's some things that you can do with fuel cell that you can't do with battery, and there's some things you can do with battery that you can't do with fuel cell. And we've actually have fuel cell vehicles that are on the road today. We have a Nexo SUV, the only SUV that's fuel cell. And we have heavy duty trucks that we've already started. They've started in Europe and Switzerland, but they're going to come to the US and China. And so heavy duty trucks. So if we can set up the infrastructure to support 15 heavy duty trucks, then maybe that helps us support 700 Nexo SUVs. And so we're working on both the BEV and the hydrogen fuel cell. Then as we progress to Progress for Humanity, we've invested in Boston Dynamics, which makes robotics. And so we see robotics in a couple of ways. Robotics in our plants, where people can wear wearable robots that if you have repetitive tasks you have to do, can assist you into that and help you with body fatigue. Then robots that will do last mile delivery that people are used to seeing or seeing at least tested and pilot concepts. And then also, taking us further, where we actually have this urban mobility vehicle that maybe it's called Tiger. We did a concept of it where maybe you can go into off-terrain areas that you wouldn't send someone in, but you can now send this urban mobility vehicle, and we can use robotics to do that. And then smart factories. So how do we use AI, big data, IoT to make our logistics systems, our assembly systems, our quality control systems more intelligent, more smart? How do we predict supply so that we can manage the line more efficiently? So this whole strategy with smart devices, smart services, EV, fuel cell EV, robotics, smart factories are all part of what we're doing as we're making this progress for humanity. And so with that and the opportunity to work on that and the opportunity to get great young minds to help me work on that, it's a great thing and a great place to be. So that's a little bit about career. So I got a chance to talk to Carrie a little bit in advance, and she said, well, BC, they're gonna wonder, what challenges have you had? So all y'all are young, I'm old, I've been in the industry 30 years, but I'm happy with my, I'm good. I'm fine with my age. I'm wiser now. But one of the things that has come over that journey is I have worked in many predominantly male dominated areas, many majority centered spaces, I would say. And I was definitely an underrepresented minority in those spaces. And there's some challenges that clearly can come up, and maybe we can talk about it in the Q&A, see if you guys relate to any of these. But when you are the only underrepresented minority in a majority center space, you can feel exceptionally isolated. And sometimes, unfortunately, this is not everywhere. I've had good things happen, not so good things happen. You can get out and out disrespected. And when you feel you're made to feel you're not one of the guys, and maybe people underestimate your talents or what you can do, that can be pretty oppressive on your soul. It can be tough to sort of overcome those things. And so one, I was blessed with that beautiful woman that I showed you in the beginning, my mom, my best friend, who I miss terribly. But one of the things that she taught me is this thing about being built up. And what I mean about being built up is if your energy is focused on being built up, and what I mean by that is every day you're trying to learn. Every day I want to improve, grow, develop. Every day, even if someone makes me feel bad or disrespect me, I'm gonna show up every day in the rain, in the shine, with a smile on my face. I live in Laguna Beach now, and it's beautiful and sunny every day. It's easy to show up with a smile on my face. But you become a person of character when you show up in the rain. That is when it's difficult. That is when you develop. That is when you build muscle. That is when you build up. And what you do is, if you're focused on that, instead of the noise of what someone else might be saying to you, you end up establishing receipts. You get stuff done. So even if someone wants to say, that BC, she ain't all that. In general, when someone is saying that, and 95% of the people can see receipts, they're not convinced. And so instead of fighting that negativity, build up, establish receipts. That is the biggest way to overcome that. Also, your mind won't be focused on what other people have to say. And that will allow you to persevere, be resilient, and be able to show up every day in the rain and the shine. And overcome some of the things that may be unfair, but sometimes end up happening. People will ask, how do you get to be successful? So one of the things that I did really learn, I remember that transition from leaving Chrysler and then ending up at Visa. I was just like, I had 20 years in the auto industry. I did know that. And now I'm going to go to Visa, and these people are going to be like, what's this car girl doing in this payments field? She don't know. And that's going to be all even harder. But it was the best thing I did. I reached a pretty significant level in the auto industry. And I thought, wow, I kind of thought I was kind of like at a pinnacle level. Then I came out here and to California. And even though car industry is huge, They talk Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Google. And I was just like, oh, we're not the biggest thing around. Oh, but I thought we were. And that dimension really helped me learn a lot. And then it forced me to go have to learn about IoT, go learn about 5G, go learn about AI, go learn about machine learning. And then because I had to learn about it, I was improving every day and really sort of improving my skills. And I became a much broader leader. And that's why I felt when I would come to Hyundai, I would have so much more to give, in that I was learning and could contribute, because I learned great things in the auto industry, from process, from launching on time, from launching with quality, from launching to hit your vehicle targets. I learned out here a little bit about innovation, and the two of those combined can really be valuable. And so always learn, accept those opportunities to expand and lead. When I was talking about Leland Melvin earlier, like, you're NFL and then you're in space. I mean, talk about differences and you're, both of those happen in one person in one lifetime, really? Okay. Expand your opportunities to lead, improve every day, be positive, be happy in the face of someone telling you you're not as good, or you're not as smart, or you're not this. If you're building up, if you're being built and you're building up, you won't have time to focus on that. And eventually your accomplishments will just drown out any of the rest of that. One of these things, and this is a picture I took from the airplane, I think it was like between, what was that, Chrysler, between Torino and Turin, and I think we were going to France or Paris or something, over the Alps. And one of the things about getting to the top, so I'm not at the top, but I'm closer to it than I used to be. But what I would say, to me, it's not about the arrival. To me, it's about the getting there. And what I mean about that is really taking the time to embrace the mundane. And where I get that is, if you talk to those, I talk about those goats and those legends, Simone Biles and, Serena, even Tom Brady. I know people have issues with him. I'm sure LeBron feels the same way. I don't think that their big accomplishments aren't, I won Wimbledon or I won a gold medal. It's, I practiced, I learned, I grew, I hung out on the bus with the team. And that's what I mean. It's not the arrival. It's not the winning Wimbledon. It's the working hard and enjoying what you do and being passionate about that. And so I think if you enjoy the mundane, you don't live Saturday to Saturday, you find a way to enjoy Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, even if it's putting a pretty flower in front of you, even if it's making sure you go out and breathe the fresh air. Don't live Saturday to Saturday. Don't live to get to the top. Don't live for that vacation. Enjoy every day. And that's more what I mean about it's the arrival. It's not the arrival, it's the getting there. And so if I left any advice, one of the things, and I just made some notes, is that be motivated by the internal desire to always improve. I'm just going to get a little bit better tomorrow. I'm going to get a little bit better tomorrow. I'm going to practice this tomorrow. This is what I'm going to have. And what happens is you render a lot of negativity irrelevant because you're too busy focused on that internal improvement. You're too busy focused being built up. And what it gives you is this gift of, now that you're built up, you can control your attitude because you're not worried about this. You're worrying about something positive and productive. You can control your peace because you don't let other people affect you because you're focused on this. And ultimately, it controls or affects your destiny. And it's because you're working on being built up and you're working on building up. And so with that, I probably talked too long. Sorry, Carrie. I just want everyone, I know it's tough, but it's in here. Be happy.